Did you know that there was something other than God that Paul said he feared? A couple times Paul mentions one thing that he feared. And the Greek word here is phobeo. It's where we get the word phobia. It means to be terrified. There was one thing other than fearing God that he was afraid of and terrified of. Let's look at it in 2 Corinthians 11. For I feel a divine jealousy for you, since I betrothed you to one husband, to present you as a pure virgin to Christ. But I am afraid that as the serpent deceived Eve by his cunning, your thoughts will be led astray from a sincere and pure devotion to Christ. For if someone comes and proclaims another Jesus than the one we proclaimed, or if you receive a different spirit from the one you received, or if you accept a different gospel from the one you accepted, you put up with it readily enough. The one thing he feared was that people in the church would be led away by the cunning of the serpent from a sincere and pure devotion to Christ. Now, let me ask you, did the serpent do this by saying to become an atheist? Did he do this by saying that we can just sin all we want and, have at it? No, because he says that it was cunning. He says that it was by his cunning. And what was the lie back in the garden? The lie back in the garden was, the first one was, did God really say that? Did God truly say that? Did he mean that? And the second one was, you surely won't die if you sin. Friends, this is the exact thing that most Christians in the church today are duped by the cunning of the serpent, that you can sin and you won't die. Guys, the Bible is abundantly clear on this. Galatians, Romans, that if you walk by the flesh, you will die. That if you, Christian, walk by the flesh, you will die. Guess what? When you're born again, the wages of sin is still death. That doesn't change when you make a profession for Christ. It doesn't change when you even become born again. The wages of sin is still death. And Paul was afraid that people back then, 2,000 years ago, in the church would be led astray by the serpent telling them that they can sin and not die. This is what Paul feared. This is what it said he feared. And then he goes on to say, for if someone comes and proclaims another gospel or another Jesus than the one we proclaimed, or if you receive a different spirit from the one you received, or accept a different gospel. So he says that this is a different spirit. He says that this is a different gospel. Guys, if you believe that as a Christian, as a born-again believer, you can sin and you won't die, guess what? You've been duped. And this is the thing that Paul fought against and made him afraid of the members in Corinth, of the members of the church in Corinth. Don't be duped by the cunning of the serpent. Let's not be duped by our theology, by some sort of theology that tells us that we can sin and get away with it and we won't die. Let's not be duped by some kind of cunning scheme or twisting of the word or anything else. Because just like the serpent said, did God really say that? People do that with the Bible today. Does the Bible, I know it seems like that, but does the Bible really say that? Or does it really say this? My friends, that's the cunning of the serpent. Leading you, as he says, leading you away from a sincere and pure devotion to Christ. Again, this is what Paul feared would happen. And friends, it's happening today. Don't let it be you. Let us persevere and be faithful to the end.